It was reported by Arabs in Persia, Christians in Europe, Chinese in Asia, and indicated in Polynesian and Mayan myths. Although the volcano or volcanoes that ejected this cloud have not been firmly identified as yet, the tropical volcano shell of Rabaul in New Guinea is suspect. The chilly weather that resulted stunted European grain crops and caused untold deaths over many areas of the planet. Climatologists have estimated that this cloud caused more climatic disruptions than anything in the last 3,000 years. The slowly settling ash and wind-blown aerosols caused a strong acid rain long before the modern-day term was invented. There is no better evidence that everything on Lifeboat Earth is interconnected, that the explosion of a volcano halfway around the world can affect your garden and your loved ones. That's Dr. Walt with Insights for MCTV. This is Dr. Walt with Insights for MCTV. The concentrated strength of a lightning bolt is someone no one would ever volunteer to experience. Lightning kills more Americans every year than any other weather phenomena. Although there are a few folks around who have been struck and survived, nobody is asked to repeat the experience. One National Park ranger was struck 7 times in his life. He had his hair set on fire, the watch melted in his pocket, and his toenails blown off. The last time he was hit, he was innocently fishing by a creek when he felt the hair on his body stand out. He looked up and saw the lightning coming down out of the sky at him. Lightning occasionally manages to take its own picture. When the bolt strikes wet beach sand of the proper consistency, the furious electrical river fuses the sand into a branching glass tube called a fulgurite. Sometimes referred to as petrified lightning, these long glass tubes show little sign of their presence on the surface other than a small plug in the sand. While the inside of the tube is smooth with fine bubbles, the outside is rough from branching and the coating of sand. Depending on the materials present, the lightning can make this glass image black, tan, green, or even translucent white. The largest fulgurite specimen so far discovered was dug up over a period of days from a beach in Florida. In spite of careful handling, the glass broke up into many small pieces, the largest of which was just 6 inches long. When patiently assembled, though, the entire structure was 15 feet long. As the lightning dug down 20 feet to the water table, it sent out little glass fingers like a reaching hand. Microseconds later, this raging river of electrons joined the massive electrical field of the Earth from which it came. All that's left on the surface is a little glass plug. Look for it next time you walk on the beach. That's Dr. Walt with Insights for MCTV. This is Dr. Walt with Insights for MCTV. The weather that makes the wine you drink is under intense study by agricultural meteorologists. The tiny climates and fogs, the intruding mist, breezes, or even the patterns of hot sunlight and shadow that move across the vines. All of these are part of the world of microclimates. These are small, distinct weathers within a few feet of the ground. A microclimatologist don't forecast for a county or a country, but for different sides of a valley or even different banks of a stream. The acreage of California wine grapes has increased 25% over the last 10 years. Finding the right combination of soil and climate is critical for producing vintage wines. Besides obvious weather problems of frost killing the early spring shoots and fall rains encouraging mildew, distinctly timed combinations of moisture and temperature decide the ripeness of a crop. This is the exact balance of sugars and acids the harvested grape contains, with the sugars fermenting into alcohol and the acids producing the aroma and taste. When the grower decides the crop is ripe, teams of workers harvest it in a few days after months or even years of waiting. Without enough heat in the growing season, too little sugar is produced and the wine is thin and weak. Too much sunlight and the grapes ripen before the flavor develops or after the acids have naturally peaked and begun to decline. These tart, somewhat sour wines have limited appeal. Common sense doesn't always work with wine weather either. 3 inches off the ground may be much cooler than a few feet up. The northern Sonoma Valley is considerably warmer than the south. Summertime invasions often keep the fog low, and so the ridge tops are much warmer than the valleys. The absence of fog reverses this. While European wine grapes grow with similar requirements, their weather changes over large areas at once. Growing grapes in the Napa and Sonoma valleys means breaking down the weather into many tiny individual microclimates. These are an interlocking puzzle of fog and sunshine, of moisture and wind. Not forgotten is which weather encourages which insect or discourages which fungus growth. The result is an increasing emphasis on the right vine for the right spot. Even similar plants across a flat road can show a difference. Since years go by between planting and the first harvest, doing it right the first time means learning about weather within a few feet of the ground, the microclimates of the wines that land on your table. That's Insights with Dr. Walt for MCTV.